Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show, Crypto Express. In today's video, we're going to talk about the fact that it seems like we're entering phase 3 of the market. It looks like we're at tail end of phase 2, which pretty much means if you've been following markets or if you haven't, we are in a consolidation period that seems to have taken a new position or reforming its uptrend. And there are many reasons, many of which we will go through in today's video, that indicate we are very likely on our way to a $90K or a $90,000 Bitcoin, which of course is going to rally the market. And there seems to be new token flow, if I can put it that way, which we're going to get into in this video. With that said, let us get started. All right, so just quickly, you can see we're at $64,983 in terms of value of Bitcoin, which is incredible because it's really had an impact on altcoins, and it's awakened specific sectors of the crypto market. So we know that it's been all about meme season, right? It's been all about meme coins. But we know that crypto ultimately serves a larger use case. And we know that one of the most powerful use cases it has is real world assets, or the tokenization of real world assets. So this could be real estate, this could be other secure financial instruments, that's what you would call them, or financial type of investments that you can invest in. So that is one of the sectors that seems to have woken up with this whole new injection of excitement and capital, in many ways thanks to the Roaring Kitty, as we covered in yesterday's video. If you didn't watch it, I'd encourage you at least to go skim through the timestamps to catch up on the Roaring Kitty segment of the video so you know what's going on. But basically it's related to GameStop and basically a movement of the people to rally and move the market. It's very, very exciting. And anyway, this happened in the last 48, 72 hours, and it's had a pretty big impact on the general crypto market. And as I was saying a moment ago, it seems that real world assets and like Ondo, for instance, Ondo, and also the gaming sector seems to be waking up, which is really quite exciting. That said, let's first go back to cover Bitcoin, because we know that Bitcoin is the main mover in the crypto market, and as Bitcoin rises, so do other crypto tokens, and value seems to roll from Bitcoin into altcoins, right? And for this bull run, it seems like the value is kind of, or like what's moving the market is Bitcoin sometimes and often, right? Bitcoin is like everyone's pulse. When Bitcoin's doing good, it just sends a signal throughout the market that the crypto market is healthy, alive, and it's a good time to be investing. But something else we've noticed this bull run, or going into this bull run, is that meme coins have also taken front seat, driver's seat, like the wheel, in also moving the crypto market, which then has had an impact on Bitcoin. And then from there, what we're just starting to notice is that it's starting to awaken the gaming sector of the crypto market and real world assets, and of course AI. These are the top 3 investment buckets or types or narratives, as you'll hear people in crypto refer to it. Okay, they all mean the same thing. But that said, covering Bitcoin, as I was saying a moment ago, so these are Emperor, this guy, his thoughts on the market update. He says he thinks that Bitcoin entered an accumulation phase, which I have heard again and again today in all my research. So yeah, I was even having a conversation with ChatGPT, AI, and really unpacking this, and it really just makes logical sense. So Bitcoin is entered an accumulation phase, which represents, a next move up, right? The lowest we can go is 56 to 58,000 to fill the demand, if at all. This is the bullish case. Then he sees a move to 68,000, 64, or 72,000, and only up from there. He says, this is the interesting part. Okay, so let's zoom in on this. It says meme coins, which were always meant for rugs, right? Some of these meme coins that you see out there, be careful. That's why you have to look into the team, because and make sure the community you see on Telegram and Twitter is real, because you can buy followers nowadays. So a lot of these projects are just rugs, which means that they just create a token, they create a meme, and they buy a bunch of fake followers, gets you all excited. They can even buy guerrilla marketing, promotion. There's whole marketing teams that do this, and they're fake people, or they're bots, and they go in to all the Telegram communities, Discord, Twitter. They start to bombard everyone, and they start to just kind of drop the word like, hey, have you heard of this token, or this meme coin's gonna go to the moon, or they just start spreading fake FOMO, which means fear of missing out. It's all fake, okay? It's a big charade, it's a big show. And they get everyone to come in and buy, and then the original creators they cash out. They pull all their liquidity, and they leave everyone that came and invested like standing with their pockets out, like empty-handed. So just be very, very careful, because that happens a lot. And that's what, he's saying here. He says meme coins, which were always meant to rug, right? And short-term gains will go to zero. This is why I'm not allowed to give you financial advice. But what I would tell my mom or my sisters, or what I would do and what I'm doing, is I'm not investing in everything. Okay, I'm putting my money in like the blue chips. Even within the degen category of like high risk, high volatility investment opportunities, even those, I'm only investing in the ones that I hear of, that have big backers, many of which you can learn from here at my channel. And I'm not receiving special allocations or free money. So I'm not, I'm pretty much telling them, sharing information with you as I hear it. And oftentimes I will just drop the link of the tokens that I hear of on the spot. I'll just drop them in my Telegram community. So I would encourage you to join if you want to hear about these deals. The link is in the description below. You can just click on it. It's my Telegram community. And I have people I've hired just to be there and help answer your questions. So yeah. But anyway, so that's what he's saying. So like, be careful and watch out, because the tokens that are fake, that are gonna, just pull all their money out and leave you hanging, they're gonna do that because they know they're not gonna survive, because they don't have anything real. They have no substance to them. But anyway, then he goes on to say memes that are meant for the community and truly made for the culture or the people will go up only too. So I've covered a few. If you're new to my channel, welcome. There's a few meme coins that me, not financial advice, I feel confident in. So these are going to be like your Trump meme coin, for Trump, right? MAGA is also a Trump meme coin. Bowden for Biden meme coin, BODEN. Tooker, TOOKER, Tooker. Gummy for many reasons, mainly because it has a big community behind it, and that's always, a signal of strength. But keep in mind, all of these things that I mentioned don't guarantee these tokens are going to do good, which is why I always say, and I will continue to always say, which is always take profits. Don't get greedy. As soon as you think you can make more, so you don't want to touch it, pay yourself some, which is probably a reminder to me. But that said, I think we're still early. Like, as I was saying in the beginning of this video, we're just entering phase 3. Which means that it goes parabolic from here. So I will be telling you, just if you keep following me, I'll tell you when I'm taking profits, okay? That said, some exciting news. We had over $12 billion in net inflows or new investments into the Bitcoin ETFs, which are across, of course, several major financial institutions like BlackRock, like Fidelity, some pretty big ones. So, and interestingly enough, Grayscale, which is GBTC on the screen here, as you can see, had had more inflows yesterday. And Coinbase, their Bitcoin supply hit new lows, which means there's less Bitcoin available on Coinbase's exchange for sale, which means that all the sellers that were going to sell, this is what it implies, okay? It means that all the sellers that were going to sell have already sold. So it means that the Bitcoin that is there, well, it's very little. It's very little, which is great because it means that it's in solid hands, and it's most likely, like, from here, like, no one's going to be selling on it, like as of the holders right now, right? So this implies we're ready for wave 2, next phase, as I was telling you about. That's sad. With that said, rather, I wanted to look at some news just briefly because there are several factors that could impact Bitcoin, even though I believe Bitcoin's going to pump from here. But remember that Bitcoin and the price of Bitcoin is based on macroeconomics. So how the stock market is doing still affects the crypto market, it still affects Bitcoin. Then we know that regulation, right, or the politics that govern money and that are now starting to govern or want to create laws to govern and control Bitcoin, because we know the ETFs were approved. So this means that now the SEC, right, like, they are all eyes and all ears on, and they've hired people and consultants to help them unpack and understand Bitcoin so that they can pass laws to protect us, right, or protect investors. However much of that is true, I don't know. It's a separate conversation, but that's the argument. Okay. That said, all these factors could impact Bitcoin's price, right? So it's very important to know its charts, right? Patterns, macroeconomics, politics or regulation, and the technology. Thankfully, in terms of the technology, the Bitcoin halving just passed. And we know, or if you didn't know, I'll just get you up to date really quickly, is that there's been like a shakeout of the miners, or those that run the giant computers to validate each Bitcoin block where data is confirmed. And that's how Bitcoin are created. It's really quite a beautiful system. But because the halving just happened and now it costs double to produce and to run their operations for the same amount, or actually for half the output, for half the Bitcoin reward, this has shaken out a lot of miners. Those that are running in countries where electricity is very expensive, or maybe their equipment is older and so it's just more expensive. Mainly it's the cost of production, right, that is discouraging them and has discouraged many miners, and so they're out. But it's not a reason to despair, it's normal. 2 to 5 months after the halving, we can expect this sort of like recapitulation, or like a balancing act amongst the miners and the price and the cost of, like, it's just normal. So all of this is normal. I'm just bringing you up to date with what's going on. And this is actually a good thing in the long run, because it means that new miners or those that were running good operations, cheap operations, as we saw yesterday, El Salvador is mining Bitcoin, and they're using their geothermal electricity or energy. So that's all that's happening. It's like a reshuffling of cards into different hands. And so if anything, it's a good thing. It means that Bitcoin's production is just going to be handled better for a better price, and most likely based off of renewable energy. And then these like following 3 articles are very interesting. This is where I found all my information. But it explains a lot of what I just explained to you. This is one article. I can link it below. That said, some more bullish news that should reconfirm to us that Bitcoin is going to be going up from here, and that, you know, where it's just another telling sign for you that I wanted to share with you is that over the last 30 days, retail, or this means like normal investors, okay, normal investors holding between 0.1, right, so like 10% of one Bitcoin, and up to 1 Bitcoin have purchased, wow, $135,700,000 worth of Bitcoin. That was a big number for a second. And this is a big deal because if Bitcoin is worth 66, right, roughly around $66,000, just divide 135 million, just divide it by 66,000 equals, this means approximately 2,056 independent, this could mean, there's a range, right? It could mean that up to 2,056 new investors have entered the market. Now, just depending on how much each of them have bought, this number could vary, but this is just to give you a general idea. Very interesting. And we had Millennium Management, a massive hedge fund, announced, right? Because everyone's giving their disclosures right now. I mentioned this in 2 videos ago. This is the week of all announcements. Okay. So Millennium Management disclosed it bought over $2 billion worth of Bitcoin ETFs. So that's big. And what this means, I got this off of Ivan Ontek's video today, but it's just true. So I wanted to share it with you, is that like, think of the repercussion, like think of the effect this is going to have, right? Because all investors, like big hedge fund investors, like they all know each other, right? Like think of your industry. If you're in like medicine, or, you know, you're a teacher, or you're in construction, or whatever it is, like you tend to know like the big people or the big players in your industry, right? Well, in the investment world, it's the same thing. And so what do you think is going to happen? It's like the classic case of like keeping up with the like, what is it? The Jones, keeping up the Jones, or like, it's peer pressure. That's what it is. So when other hedge funds hear that Millennium Management is holding or bought $2 billion worth of Bitcoin, like, what do you think is going to happen? You see a bunch of investors picking up the phone being like, I want to buy. Why aren't we buying? You know? And then it's a domino effect. So that is like the power and importance of this tweet. Very interesting. And then taking a look at Bitcoin, right? Like the Bitcoin USD chart, like the relationship. What we observe in this chart is that the RSIs, right? Like if you see on the bottom here where my mouse is, this is like the pulse in many ways of the market. And it means when we're in green, right? And right now, if we zoom in, can you see where my mouse is? This is where we are. We're in the green. Okay. So technically, I guess from my research, if we are at about 75 points is considered high. Okay. And we're right around there right now. And it's a healthy sign, or it's a bullish sign, when we're in green, as we are right now, and the market above, as you can see, is also up, or going up. So when they're both up, it's a confirmation that will continue to go up. If the chart was going up and RSI was low, it would mean it's going to go down, most likely. Right? So there's a relationship between the two. Very, very interesting. I will be sharing more of the RSI index with you as we go. But that is what Tech Dev is saying here. He says, like, you're in the green zone, don't waste it. Meaning, like, we're going up. Like, this is just the beginning. So if you want to buy more, like, now is the time to buy more, because the market's only going to be going up. Yeah. And then just taking a quick look at the ETF inflows yesterday. I'm going to go over it very briefly because I know nobody really likes charts. But they share so much information, and I actually fed it through ChatGPT and asked it to interpret it for me. And the consensus basically was that there seems to be a lot of coordinated purchasing, silence. So when you see there's zero action, like for instance on May 1st, you can see on the screen like where my mouse is going, it was like all negative, right? Like coordinated selling. Or a bunch of zeros, like on May 7th, a bunch of zeros, right? Or huge sales across the board. What ChatGPT or AI told me in interpreting this chart was that it basically implies, well, it could imply like massive fear or massive greed when there's a lot of purchasing or a lot of sell-offs. But what it most likely means, because we're talking about extremely intelligent, well-educated, and experienced hedge fund and fund managers, is that most likely it's coordinated. But if we take it a step further, this is my personal speculation, is that in many ways, I had this epiphany yesterday that, you know how we train AI, right? Like AI is learning us. I read a book called Scary Smart by like one of the fathers or creators of like Google's AI, pretty amazing. And he was saying that we are training AI, right? Like everything we do, like we're training it. So with that in mind, it made me think about how like we, in many ways, are training, we're educating, like without knowing it, we're educating traditional fund managers how crypto reacts to them. So when they have a negative day, or when they have a sell-off day, or when they have a massive coordinated purchasing day, or when they choose to not buy and let others buy, like when we react to that, we're teaching them what they can expect from the crypto market. Keeping in mind it's not a bull run yet, right? Because traditional markets don't necessarily operate off of a 4-year cycle. Crypto does. Why? Because we have halvings happen. Bitcoin supply produced per block gets cut in half every 4 years, as we just experienced in April. Right? So this happens every 4 years for us. That's why our bull runs coincide within every 4 years. But traditional markets don't have a halving, right? They're subject to other things like we'll see in a moment, like oil, right? There's a correlation between the price of oil and inflation, which often correlates with the printing of money, right? So there's other factors that impact traditional markets. So all of that to say that this is a lot of unpacking and deconstructing the chart and the way these ETFs should be interpreted. But that said, it's a giant experiment for now and learning curve, because the crypto market has never had institutional money come in, and the institutional market has never offered a financial instrument from crypto and they've never been in a position to have to manage, their funds from a digital asset that they don't even really understand, and there's implications with politics and the power struggle that Bitcoin really represents, because it takes power away from the centralized banks. Anyway, it's a lot to unpack, but all we should know is that for the immediate moment, there were many inflows. There were many purchasers of Bitcoin today, which is good news in the short term. That said, Bitcoin funding rates remain extremely low, which we know that if rates are low, it encourages purchasing, right? Encourages more people to buy. So that is another bullish reason for you to be feeling bullish today. More good news for you is that the world's largest futures exchange, CME Group, is planning to launch Bitcoin trading. So here we go. Very exciting. And that said, as I mentioned in the beginning of my video, AI and meme coins have been dominating mind share, right? Or like the market, and have, pretty much outperformed every other token type in the last month. But this is what I was trying to tell you, is that it seems that there are a few altcoin layer, like alt ones or layer ones, which are like applications built on different networks, right? Such as, and gaming coins, this is what I was telling you, are showing strength, which is why I opened this video telling you that it seems like we're exiting phase 2 and into phase 3, which is where you'll start to see the waterfall effect. In the beginning of this video, I told you that we're observing a new trend in the way the money moves in crypto, which is basically like Bitcoin or meme coins, okay? And then from there now, before they were having like a retroactive effect on each other, like one was spurring one or the other was instigating the other. But now we're having like the awakening of gaming, which we know is a big segue into entering traditional markets, because in gaming, I'm not a gamer, but I know enough about them. There's in-game assets, right? Like there's skins or like powers or like gear and equipment or magical tokens you can earn and use within your games. And so basically crypto is like a very easy way, right? Like instead of collecting points or magical tokens or whatever you call them in games, you would collect these, but they would have real crypto value. And the talk amongst, and in the crypto world is in making these redeemable for and exchangeable across multiple games, making them interoperable, which would be awesome if gamers could, like move their tokens across different games and have it have real value, and even cash out into Ethereum or USDT if they want to, So we know gaming's a real world use of crypto, and so we're starting to see that like games are starting to wake up, such as Beam, Immutable, and then I think it's like what is this one? The CHR, I'm not sure what it is. Across the Ages, I'm not sure. And two of the layer ones that are starting to wake up or have been pumping are Phantom and Say. Phantom and Say. And as I was telling you, real world assets as well. RWAs, or real world assets, are starting to look interesting again after these funds started showing their hands with buying ETFs. I think the market recognizes that it doesn't stop here and that there is massive interest. Two of the best performing real world assets, and I'm going to go take a look at them myself, are Token and PolyX. Take screenshots of this screen and go check them out later if this interests you. I will, because I own Ondo, but I don't own Token or PolyX. And so as we were, we've been talking about, like, the market is going to pop off from here. Like, we're entering the phase of like parabolic action. So there's a time to buy. It's now. And as we can read here, just some more bullish news and confirmation and reason for us to believe that the market is just getting started. Like, look at this chart. If you can't see my chart, like, it's basically like beautiful colors and massive rise and rally to the right. And this represents all the layer 2 active user growth going vertical. So we've had, this basically just means that like retail's back. Like, so many people are entering crypto, and there's like real users and real people interacting and using crypto applications. And that's a big sign that the market is back. It's coming back. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video, but I have more confirmation of this for you today, is that over 136,000 new tokens have been created on Solana in the last 7 days. Dang, crazy. Now keep in mind, many of these may be rugs, as I was telling you. So don't go buy everything. It's not financial advice, but don't do that. Okay, follow my channel, follow Kyle Chausset's channel, follow Alex Becker, Elio Trades. Like, follow people who know. Don't go follow everybody, because you're going to lose a lot of money. And More confirmation on Solana. I might go top up as well, but Solana seems to be leading the way this bull run. And we're just hearing that Solana, as you can see on my screen, just outdid Tron and Bitcoin on the 24-hour revenue generation. Wild, guys. Crazy. I'm zooming in for you. And we have Bithumb, Korea's second largest crypto exchange, announcing that they're going to list Bonk. I own some Bonk, not so much, but I do own some. Bonk and Zetta Chain. Zetta Chain's awesome. I made a whole video on Zetta Chain. You can go check them out. Really good. So this is going to happen. Yeah, this happened today, guys. Sorry, this is my research from like a few hours ago. So this already happened, guys. There's a link here on the screen. feed.bithumb.com/notice/164488784. Or just go to Bithumb. It's Bithumb. And we have 2 Democrat and 2 Republican senators led by Chuck Schumer that are calling Congress, thank goodness, they're asking for, that's what it means, they're asking for a $32 billion emergency spending or investment into AI over the next 3 years to boost U.S. investments in AI research and development and testing standards. This is really good news because China has been leading the way, and it's scary. And I mean no disrespect. I used to think I was part Chinese. Some in my family still think I am, but I did a DNA test and turns out I'm not Chinese. I'm other Asian types, but I'm not Chinese. I'm actually part Eskimo. It's crazy. Yeah, and then this is very interesting. This is something that most of us know. This is from Willy Woo, who's been in crypto a very, very long time. And he's basically explaining that there's 2 types of citizens, right? And I'm going to sort of start to wrap up this video with this because it's kind of sad and a little shocking. And if anything, is why I am, like, it's this whole tweet, his whole message really is behind why I have this channel for you. And it's because it comes down to education. I'm not going to read this verbatim, but it basically says there's 2 types of citizens or people in the world, right? Those who invest and those who don't. And why? Let's start there. Because they weren't taught to. I wasn't taught to invest. Maybe a little bit. Like my dad had land in Bolivia and my mom, she didn't invest, but she was always, businesswoman. Like just always selling and flipping stuff. But I wasn't necessarily taught to invest because my parents were academics and humanitarians and religious ministers. So that I wasn't taught this. I had to learn it on my own. And it was really hard. And I made a lot of mistakes, because no one taught me. And oftentimes those who do know about investing, like their parents taught them, or they were part of families, that like it was normal. They would talk about it, and then sometimes you have people that, weren't raised in it, but grew up so poor that they wanted to make sure they could invest. But anyway, the point is that it comes down to education. Because, and it's so important because if you're not educated and you don't invest, then you're subject to whatever the government does. You're just going to be like pushed around and squashed and squeezed and taken advantage of. And you're just like going to be like sheep and cattle that go to the slaughterhouse. And you're just like, you have no power. And it's really sad. Like, I know you guys don't know me, but I've really thought about, like, that's why I'm getting my production behind the scenes under control. I've been going through quite a bit with our dog, with his health problems. And so a lot of my time has been going there. But behind the scenes, I'm managing to bring my whole content production system into control and into a system because I really want to scale up and start to do content in Spanish and other languages. And I want to create a fund for normal people. And like, honestly, like it sounds crazy, but like I really mean it. Like once I start getting allocations, like I want to put a percentage of that, like 25% or more I used to say 50%. I might do 50%, but the only reason I'm thinking about it again is because I have family I need to take care of too, and I have a big family. So I'm thinking like 25% towards my family, 25% towards you guys, my community. And literally, like, I want to give money away, but in a way that helps and doesn't hurt anyone, because if you're not educated on how to handle money, like, oftentimes you don't do good things with it. But I think taking care of your basic needs is, I think, something that most people would do right away when they get money. And if I can help be part of that blessing, then I want to. So these are some of my goals. And then we're going to wrap it up. This chart looks very complicated, but don't be worried. I had a conversation with ChatGPT over it. And basically, it just shows a relationship between crude oil, which is in black, the black line, and inflation, right? Inflation percentage. And as you will obviously tell on the screen, there's a big relationship between both. And what we need to understand from it is that every time the price of oil goes up, this is why you need to pay attention when you hear in the news, oil, like price of petrol or gasoline is going to go up. You can assume inflation is going to go up, which usually implies printing money. The government will print money. But as you can see on the screen, we're at the very end of it here, and you can see that we're going down, which means that in time, within the next month or two or so, because it takes time, it looks like inflation rates are going to go down, which means that the cost, or like interest rates, are going to go down, which is good because it means it's going to be cheaper to borrow money, so people can go take loans out for businesses and do stuff for life and business. So it means that it's a good time to invest because interest rates are going to be going down. So anyway, thanks to ChatGPT for helping me understand that. And then, yeah, we're going to end it with this. And it's basically that Bitcoin is just in a reforming, as I was saying in the beginning of this video, reforming an uptrend, up, for many reasons, as we discussed in this video, right? The RSI relationship to Bitcoin's chart is healthy. They're both going up. Macro markets are looking good, right? Price of oil looks like it's coming down, which means interest rates are going to go down. So much, right? Like the government is talking about, like they're proposing bills to have USDT and USDC be introduced and adopted on some level. We have the government looking to hopefully invest a few $1 billion into AI, which brings us up to speed. So it looks like the US is waking up, which is very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. Anyway, guys, I love you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys here tomorrow. Ciao.